Just want to show a real quick review of the very first draft I have of my very first workflow, which is a board of advisors. So the idea of basically taking a group of experts, it's not really what I was thinking at the time. I was just thinking board of advisors, but that's really what this turned into. So I have a database quickly here of all the different roles on this board. So for me, I was thinking more business, finance, and just kind of general health type of stuff. Health and life coach, wellness. So these are all the different roles we have: insurance person, finance person, tax, some attorneys, health and wealth, life coach, or health and wellness, business strategy, investment advisor, cybersecurity, philanthropy, saying that right? Yep. Real estate advisor, HR and benefits, and a secretary. So you could add as many different experts as we want in here. Each of these experts has their own prompt, of course, to set them up as an expert in that field with years of experience and all the certifications and degrees and anything that you might expect or want that particular expert to have to be the world's best expert for the world's best board of advisors. So again, this could be filled with all sorts of other roles, from marketing and sales experts to project managers, coders, some sort of specialty inside of a small business or something. But basically you build all your experts out inside the database here. So then the actual workflow, right now I've got it just on a webhook trigger as well as a Discord trigger. So we'll send a topic in from Discord here in a minute. It's just going to clean up the data, pull out all the experts, the entire roster of experts out of the database, and then pass that to a secretary agent. That secretary is going to pull out, based on the topic passed, which of the board advisors or which experts should be included in that meeting. Then it's going to clean up that data a little bit more. Then the experts selected are going to have a conversation with each other about the topic. So they're going to, again, converse back and forth, maybe argue with each other and debate a little bit if they have some sort of a disagreement, and come away from that first meeting with some general feedback, recommendations, as well as action items for each of themselves. So for an attorney, they might be drafting some legal documents. For a financial person, they might be coming up with, of course, financial documents that you might need. The business strategist would outline something, whatever they talk about in the meeting. They'll pass all that on to the secretary again, who will create some initial meeting minutes, some notes about the meeting, and save the full conversation as well as highlights about it, kind of break it up so you can get through it quickly. It'll have the raw transcript if we want to see that. And then it'll pass on those action items to another agent where each of the experts will actually do their action items. So if it was to go research a particular topic and come back with some documentation on that or whatever the case may be, they're going to complete those actual deliverables here, pass those back to the secretary one final time, where they're going to take all those delivered documents and information, append it back to the original meeting minutes, so that at the end, saved on our Google Drive, right now it's just going to save it as a markdown file. It will have the entire original meeting, all the highlights, the raw transcript, action items, as well as the delivered items at the end. So for now, let's go ahead and I'll start listening on Discord. So I have a Discord group here. If I want to trigger it, I just say topic, and then I'm just going to go ahead and paste in, I'm interested in purchasing a SaaS solution from a current provider. I need some help with questions I should be asking and procedures to complete the purchase if we decide to move forward. Of course, your topic could be anything about anything. And I'll go ahead and hit that. We can see that trigger. So now the secretary is deciding based on that topic who should be at this meeting. And it decides who, passes it on. Now they're actually having the conversation. So they're discussing the topic with each other, coming up with action items. We'll see if they end up debating it all. I've kind of noticed a lot of times in this very first version here, and with all these models, right now it's running on OpenAI 4.0 mini. So it's a cheap model. It's not going to be reasoning as deep as it could. But the meeting is now done. So now the secretary is putting together those initial meeting minutes. And this one sometimes takes a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, meeting minutes are done. So now it's passed on. Each of the experts are now doing their action item. So this agent is going through, and again, it might have been doing some research and documenting what was found. It might be templating some sort of valuation model for, how to come up with a price that we'd be willing to pay. Again, my topic was pretty basic. I didn't have what kind of SaaS solution, so that's probably some of the questions that they would be asking, which, again, in this very first version of this, what I don't have yet is when they do their initial board meeting, they almost always have questions for me. So I'm going to allow them to pass those questions back so I can answer them before they move on and do their actual action items. So they completed their action items. Now the secretary, again, is appending those deliverables to the original meeting minutes. And here momentarily, it should spit out. It's going to save to our Google Drive the meeting minutes. Right now it's just a markdown file. I plan to make it, more of a nice looking PDF report of some kind, or something that could be actually delivered in a meaningful way. But this thing actually comes out pretty well. So yeah, now that completed, now if I refresh this, there's my new meeting minutes that popped up. So we'll go ahead and open that up and we'll see what it did. So the secretary put together this where the board was going to discuss the purchase of a SaaS solution. And then the discussion highlights, who was, it looks like the financial planner, the tax consultant, the corporate attorney, the business strategist. They're the ones that were selected. And so these are just the highlights of their conversation, kind of what they suggested, what feedback they gave. And then some final decisions and recommendations here. So compile a list of critical questions, key areas to focus. So then they came away with action items. So the financial planner was going to summarize recommendations and next steps. The tax consultant was going to draft a brief on tax implications. The corporate attorney was going to prepare a template for contract review process. The business strategist was going to do a competitive analysis framework for evaluating the SaaS solution. And then the secretary is going to compile everything as questions and procedures. So again, in this first version, I just wanted to see kind of all that info in different formats. So here's another discussion log where it just puts it out in a table, kind of each of their bullet points and what their specific recommendation is here, which kind of becomes their action item. We do have the actual raw transcript. So we can see, John Lopez started, "It's great to see everyone here. We're considering the purchase of a SaaS solution," and, starts to give his opinion. Charlie here, the tax consultant, said, "Absolutely, John. Additionally, I would advise these things." And then the attorney agrees with those points and adds a legal standpoint. So yeah, you can go through and read the full transcript of the meeting. And then we have, what are they going to be delivering? Actually, this is the appended deliverables. So who is delivering what? And then the actual, so the financial planner came back with his assessments. So recommendations, what exactly we should do. So sometimes, again, this could roll right back into telling him to do these things. So he kind of came up with the initial list and a deeper analysis of what to do, but we could roll that back into more action items, or another agent that would go do some research and actually do these next steps. The tax consultant put together a brief. So what kind of income tax considerations should we consider? What kind of deductions and credits might we have? Again, if it would have asked, when I get it to where it can ask me questions, it probably would have asked the type of business, and then it would have had more in-depth analysis on that. How to handle capital gains, retirement accounts, etc. The corporate attorney came back with a contract review process, so just kind of what procedures we should go through to actually complete a purchase like this. So that's interesting. Some things to consider. Final steps. The business strategist again came back with a competitive analysis framework for evaluating SaaS solutions in general. So looking up market size and growth trends. So again, what my vision is for this thing is to allow the board to come back with questions, and with my broad topic, they probably would have said, what kind of SaaS is this? And what kind of users are we looking at? And so then I could have had them go do some actual market research for us. And that would have been the deliverable in that case. So anyway, here's our general, the secretary then comes back with this final list of questions and things. Here's a request for proposal template. And so again, very first version of this, it is available on GitHub, so I'll put links to all this. If you have any kind of thing you'd like to play with this and help me build it out, I think this thing could be pretty cool over time, adding lots of different experts into the database. I'm going to make a better interface to where you can adjust the prompts for the experts and add new experts at any time, and have lots of different ways to pass a topic into it. I'm not even using any memory or tools on these agents right now, so I plan to build that out in some interesting ways. I think n8n actually just released this respond to chat node not too long ago, so that should give us the ability to more easily do some of the questions back and forth. I really haven't looked at that much yet. But yeah, I'm curious what you think, how this might be used, if you think it could be useful, if I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be, if there's a way to improve this. Again, it's going to be open sourced. I'd love some help building it out, or just some general feedback.